So we'll make a start. Tonight we're looking at the nervous system in this run of classes on yoga for healthy body systems. And the nervous system is a really interesting one. And as usual, you know, we kind of break the body down into these different systems, and then the nervous system gets subdivided even more into the brain and the spinal cord, the central nervous system, and then everything else, the peripheral nervous system. And then within that peripheral nervous system, there's the somatic nervous system, where you do your beautiful yoga postures and you're doing voluntary movement, and there's all that grace of movement, and there's a whole field of somatics and yoga that's arisen, and some other yoga type disciplines like Feldenkrais, which take a similar approach. And then you've also got your autonomic nervous system, which I'll talk about a lot in class, because it's all about de-stressing and lowering down your sympathetic, your fight or flight nerves, and upping your relaxation, your parasympathetic nerves. And then the third bit of the nervous system, third bit of the peripheral nervous system that we rarely talk about, is the enteric nervous system that runs through the gut. So not everybody realizes that there are billions of neurons running through the gut as well. But as soon as you just think, you know, when you have a strong emotion or you feel a lot of fear, where do you feel it? That sort of tightening in the gut. And people talk about a gut feeling. So almost the intelligence that is created through neural feedback, ultimately resulting in how your brain processes information. All these things knit together through different parts of the body. So we'll just use tonight's class to try to kind of tune in to those three aspects: somatic, autonomic, and enteric through our posture practice. But as I say, at the end of the day, at the end of the practice, what we're trying to feel is that everything knits together, because you can't have one bit of the nervous system highly stimulated and active and another bit relaxed. There tends to be whole body effects. So even in the bit that you control, if you get very stressed, it's going to reflect in the activity of the those parts that are out of your control. So we'll start with a little centering practice. So take a moment to find really good posture. If you're in the chair, just sitting back a little bit, bringing the lumbar curve in so that the spine stacks over the pelvis, slightly tucking in the chin, lengthening the back of the neck, feeling there's a plumb line running through the crown of the head, down through the center of the body, through the center of the pelvic floor. When you find that sweet spot, the body just feels a little bit more balanced. And you probably also feel that little bit of subtle drawing up as your body automatically reacts to the lengthening out with a bit of support from your core muscles. And then either softly closing your eyes or having a soft gaze forwards and down. And take a moment to tune into your body and every sensation that you're feeling right now. Because every one of those physical sensations is coming via sensory nerves through the somatic system. Maybe noticing the touch of the hands on the thigh or the floor. Feeling the chair or the mat supporting the pelvis. Noticing and sensing your spine, imagining the building blocks of each vertebra, stacking one upon the other. And one of the purposes of a yoga class and our yoga practice is just to bring a period of time each day, each week, whenever it happens, into really focusing the mind and noticing the sensations in the body. And this is how we refine physical awareness. Suddenly, if we're occupied, we'd be aware of none of these things. But right now, you can feel all those sensations. You can notice whether your body feels warm or cold. You can notice any discomforts, any feelings of space and ease. You can notice whether you feel alert, tired, energized, lacking in energy. As usual, no judgment, just noticing, constantly widening the sphere of awareness of what is happening in, turning the senses that are normally moving out and allowing them to reflect on what we are experiencing in each and every moment. And in doing that, we begin to bring a little measure of control and discipline over the senses, and we begin to slow down, reduce the amount of information pouring into the mind through all these neural connections. And when we do slow down those circuits and focus them on single objects, sensations, it's an uncluttering process. We feel and discover something new because we're no longer being crowded out. It's almost a nice way to describe the process of yoga. It's a process of moving into an uncrowded out space inside our minds. Let's just begin to take a little bit of control of the breath. You're probably already doing that, but particularly notice the breath now, trying to breathe in and out through the nose. Unless you have a blocked nose, in which case use the mouth whenever you need to. And just find a really smooth rhythm of breath. And because it's so appropriate for this week's theme of focusing on the nervous system and bringing calm, downgrading the activity of the nervous system, we're going to continue using the long exhale. So just begin to feel, without doing any counting or any forcing, just begin to feel that you are allowing your exhale a little bit more space to fully express its fullness. And if that feels really comfortable, see if you can also create a little bit of space around the turning points of the breath at the end of that comfortable inhale, just before the exhale begins. And as that long exhale dies away, coming to that point of stillness, and then the inhale arises once more. And then at the end of the next exhale, just let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Keep the eyes closed or downcast for a moment longer. And just notice how you feel once more. Notice what is shifting and in which direction. It's said in Patanjali Sutras that progress in yoga comes after a long period of time of consistent practice. And yeah, I think one of the modern appeals of yoga is that in 1 or 2 minutes of breathing, you can dramatically impact how you feel in your body and what you experience in your mind. So remember, you have that inner resource and that tool to just calm down and create space for yourself at any time of the day. So blinking, open the eyes now. We're going to start with a few chair postures, focusing on the somatic system. So breathing in, just a little bit of additional focus on what we are sensing in our body as we inhale and exhale, but also trying to bring an additional layer of subtlety and finesse to what are really simple movements. You could almost, with my neck scarf on tonight, imagine that I might be a slightly bossy director at the Royal Ballet, and it will be, don't have the wrists hanging, stretch, open up, create some poise and beauty in the way that we hold our body. And in bringing that attention to tiny little things like the wrist and the hands, again, we find that absorption in somatic experience and find the beauty and the depth of pure simplicity of breath and movement. Release the arms down, give the arms a little shake, and then give the shoulders a lift and roll back. And we'll do that several times just to give you an opportunity to really notice what you're feeling in those shoulder muscles, in the shoulder joint. And then we normally turn the palms out and raise the arms and lower them here. We're going to do something similar, but we're just going to focus a little bit more on the fine detail of that movement, again, to try and bring this somatic finesse and awareness to what we're doing. So from the arms hanging, but still maintaining this lovely lifted up plumb line posture, you're going to feel that you're initiating the turning out of the palms at the shoulders. So the shoulders just begin to move out and back. The upper arms begin to rotate outwards, and that cues the forearms to follow, and then the palms last of all. That's all happening in the first beginnings of the inhale. And then we're going to let these arms float up, and we're trying to, as much as possible, not allow the shoulders, but have this feeling that the shoulders are sinking down the back and counterweighting the arms. And then exhaling, the same as usual, turn the palms, long exhale, back to the arms hanging beside the chair. We can do 5 of those in our own time, breathing in. Long exhale. And as you refine the movement, try to refine the amount of energy you're using. Really feeling that it's minimal. Every little bit of energy you use is playing a part and nothing is wasted. Conserving within the vital energy. At the end of that exhale, really letting everything soften, letting the arms feel heavy as they hang from the shoulder joint. Just a couple more. And then at the end of the next one, let the arms hang. Again, give the shoulders another lift or shrug or whatever you feel they need. So my yoga teaching's changed a lot over the years. And, right at the beginning, I used to just teach one classical form of yoga after another, sometimes with no preparation in between. And now I teach hardly any classical postures. And that's by way of explanation of what we're going to do now, because I'm going to suggest some shoulder releases, but what I really want you to do is to use the belt to experience as much somatic feedback from the shoulders within your own kind of matrix of muscular tension or muscular ease, of stiffness or freedom. So don't necessarily just do the ones that I'm doing. I'm just going to do a few one after the other, and you can decide which ones you want to do for yourself. So even though this isn't a classical yoga pose, in fact, nobody used a yoga belt until Mr. Iyengar invented the use of it in the 1930s and 40s. So yoga is constantly evolving and meeting the needs of the age in which it is practiced, even though the fundamental spiritual and moral values remain there as eternal teaching. So although this isn't a classical pose, it actually looks like, those of you who've done a lot of yoga will recognize this as being a little bit like a king pigeon arm position. If you imagine being on the mat with the front leg in a hip opener, the back leg stretched out, and then the back leg bending, reaching back, placing the back of the head on the sole of the foot, and the arms reaching back and holding the foot. Yes, I did say imagine that. I never actually could do that one, even at my most supple, and very few people can. So we're just going to do a couple more. This one is a really nice one. We've done once or twice before, almost like you've got one half of a pair of braces over a shoulder, and then using the hands to move the soft tissues of the top of the shoulder under the belt. So don't let the belt slide on the shoulder, pull down on it, and kind of it's just telling your body these shoulders need to drop away from the ear. These muscles need to lose the tension that they have. And then doing the same on the other side. And then last one, I'm going to go just a little bit shorter with the belt and bend both elbows. So just thinking about the hands moving towards each other with the belt providing the link. And really lifting this high elbow up towards the ceiling. You're not too worried about the back elbow. It's probably already working quite hard, and that left shoulder joint working hard. Really feeling the space all through the open side of the rib cage. And then coming around to do that on the other side. I've seen 100 yoga practitioners puff and sweat and lose their breath in an attempt to link the fingers behind the back, and ended up in this kind of position. And I would say this version with the belt is infinitely better for us, and certainly a lot more pleasurable and less painful. Okay, lovely. I just feel like I want to finish with a really wide belt, inhaling up, exhaling down, and once more, inhaling up and exhaling down. And then we won't need the belt for a little bit. It's a slightly shorter chair sequence because we're spending a little bit longer in each pose tonight to explore the effects on the different parts of the nervous system. So we're just going to finish by using the hands to create a little bit of brace on the thighs and really find a nice upright spine, coming into a little bit of back bend, so lumbar curve is there. The rounded thoracic is beginning to sink in between the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades are coming back. Shoulders are dropping down. When you feel that you've got that, then you begin to exhale, bow forward. So keep the spine in the same stretched out, slightly back bending position. That will mean you've got the maximum length in the spine. You're also strengthening your back muscles on the way down. And then when you get to about here, just going to tuck the chin in and let the crown of the head hang forward. Let the weight of the head give some traction and length to the back of the neck. And notice all the sensations here. So if you really focus your attention in on the lower back and the sacroiliac area, it's sometimes possible just to feel that area beginning to soften and yield some space in this position. I really, really highly rate it. Okay, and then we're going to come back up, bring the hands back onto the thigh, and either pushing with the hands or using the back muscles or a little bit of both, come back up to this lovely flat back, slightly back bending back, and then come all the way up to sitting. And if you're coming down onto the mat, we are coming down to the mat now. If you're continuing in the chair, just begin to circle the upper body in the usual way. And if you're down on the mat, you're going to bring the knees in and begin to rock from side to side. So when we're really focusing in on somatic experience, it's often a good idea to, as I say, limit the outward flow of the senses. So anytime in tonight's class when you want to close the eyes while you're practicing, just feel free to do that. I know a lot of you do that anyway, but don't wait for me to cue you on that. Just if you feel you can do it with the eyes closed, then do, making sure you're keeping yourself safe. So as you rock from side to side or circle the upper body, just begin to rotate the head in the opposite direction. Those on the mat, you're using a blanket to maintain this lovely long line from the crown of the head down through the center of the pelvic floor. And then come to center, allow the knees to separate and begin to circle really slowly. So either stretch out both the inhale and that long exhale. Inhale for half a circle, exhale for half a circle. But if you can go even slower, then how about inhale for a quarter of a circle, exhale half a circle, inhale 3/4 of a circle, exhale, complete the circle. The slower we circle, the more opportunity we have just to feel what we're feeling in the hip joints. Whereabouts in that circle is it the very wide position where we feel it the most? or somewhere else. Doing exactly the same in the chair, holding the shin. And then if you're in the chair, reversing the direction. And then change to the other leg. And if you're on the mat, reversing the double leg rotation in the other direction. And then coming back to center, you're lying down, just bring the feet and the thighs and the knees together. And then on an exhale, let the knees separate into this open position. You can do it in the chair as I just showed you. If you're on the mat, you're allowing the knees to drop away from the center of the hips. We're just going to do that with the breath a few times. Inhaling, knees to center. Exhaling, long exhale, slow exhale. Release the knees down. Keep the conscious mind focused on the sensations in the hips. Also maybe in some of the muscles around the groin, if that's where you're feeling the stretch, or any sensation that you're feeling. And then on the next exhale, we're just going to hold the hip open position. Elbows are resting on the mat, so it's not too heavy. Palms are just resting on the inside of the thigh, and just light fingertip pressure. So to me, this is indicating to the thighs that I want them to rotate outwards rather than pushing down towards pushing the knees down towards the floor. It's the outward rotation of the thighs that will lead to the hips opening more and more. And you might just feel the lumbar spine arching away from the floor there. And if there's any discomfort there, then come back up to knees together, bring the knees in over the chest. If you're okay, just stay here just a while longer. That's great. And then place the palms underneath the thighs and breathing in. Draw the knees together, draw the knees in. Take the hands around the shins or around the back of the thigh if there's any knee issues, and rock from side to side. And then squeeze the thighs in as you breathe out. Inhale. Let the arms straighten, thighs move away on the in-breath, squeeze in on the out-breath. Working that in the same way from the chair. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. We're going to do two more things focusing on the somatic nervous system, and then we'll move on to the enteric. So we'll do a cross crawl and hamstring stretch, and then we'll do a little bit of a dynamic back bend. So what you're going to be doing is breathing in and taking the right arm up overhead or up into the air, and at the same time raising the left leg and stretching it out, and exhaling, coming back. And a bit like that ballet choreographer I was describing, it's about finding that elegance of movement. So from the floor, the knee comes in and then straightens up, the arm reaches overhead or as far as your shoulder wants to take you tonight, and long exhale, coming back. Can you make every element of this movement Make it be imbued with grace and control, placement. Like you're really zooming in to the experience of the movement that you feel that you are controlling. And then next time you do the left arm and the right leg, I'm going to just change it slightly. I'm going to take the belt in both hands. You can do this from the chair as well. And now we're going to breathe in and take both arms overhead. Bring the right knee in and extend the right leg up. And breathing out, bring the arm back. Hook around the right leg. Inhale. Stretch the leg up. Exhale. Hold the stretch. Inhale. Hold the stretch. And exhale. Release down. Same on the left leg. Both arms overhead, left leg up. Exhale. Arms come back, catch the foot. Inhale. Exhale, long exhale, enjoy the stretch. Notice the sensations. Inhale. Exhale. Release. 2 more rounds. 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Just carry on with that until you have done those 4 rounds. Allow the mind to be absorbed in the focus of remembering the sequence, but also continuing to tune into every sensation in the body. When you get to the last one, just release the belt, draw the knees in and rock from side to side, or softly fold over the thighs. If you're working in the chair, take a little rock from side to side there. And then feet down, sliding out anything under the back of the head. We're going to breathe in and just lift the pelvis a little way off the mat and breathe out, long exhale, roll the spine down. So inhale, press through the feet, feel the pelvis is light, floating up. Exhale, roll the spine down, roll the spine down like a string of pearls, 1 pearl at a time. In the chair, inhale and exhale, curling from the tailbone back to neutral. And then for those who want to, we're going to do 3 or 4 more of these. So you can stick with this version if you have any shoulder issues. Otherwise, you're going to take both arms up into the air or over your head if you're working from the mat. And you can come a little bit higher now if you want to. And then when you're ready to do your long exhale, synchronize the rolling down of the spine with the bringing of the arms back beside the body. If you are lifting a little bit higher, you should just be feeling that in the feet and the shoulders. If you're feeling that any weight is going into the neck and the head, then use your blanket, but don't have it under the head, have it under the shoulders, and that will take away any weight in the neck and the head. It actually just feels like a really nice way to do that practice. So the next time you come out of the back bend, make that the last one. Draw the knees in, take another little counter pose, another little rock from side to side. And then we're going to shift our focus to the enteric nervous system by deliberately trying to release any tension that's held, muscular tension, tension that might be held through the fascial layers of the abdomen, all around this area of the navel, the digestive system. I'm going to start with a little bit of muscle activation. If you've recently eaten or you've got any abdominal reason not to strongly work these muscles, any medical reason, then just do them in a very subtle way, or even just draw up the pelvic floor. So what we'll do is place the palms on the abdomen. We'll breathe in. And as we breathe in, try to really find the space in the chest and feel that the shoulder blades are sinking back towards the floor and also sliding down away from the ears a little. And then as you exhale, allow the end of the exhale to be kind of finished off by this drawing in of the abdomen as you press the lower back down towards the floor. As you breathe in, slightly exaggerate the softness of the abdomen as you shift the breath up to the chest and the shoulders. Exhale, drawing in. So almost feeling like the breath is pulsating up and down the body. It can breathe into a soft abdomen, but it's filling the upper chest and shoulders. And at the end of the exhale, the soft abdomen becomes a taut, drawing in abdomen that squeezes the breath out. Lovely. So just relax in semi-supine or sitting in your chair. Depending on what kind of chair you've got, you can hold the side of the chair and you're just going to lift a leg, and however much movement is allowed in your chair, you're going to rotate from side to side, moving the weight of the leg. That's going to activate these muscles that spiral around this area, internal, external obliques. And we do this from the mat by bringing the knees in over the chest and just doing little movements from side to side, taking the knees away from the center of the body as we breathe out, breathing in, knees to center, breathing out to the side. So particularly when you're lying down, the weight of the legs are trying to drop to the floor. So there's a lot more muscle work going on than there is in the chair version. And you really don't need to take the knees very far to get that benefit. So this is firing up, this is activating the muscles with this idea that if there is tension, if there is stuff being held, emotional stuff through this enteric nervous system, through the abdomen, that we're beginning to activate that area to stimulate a moving through of those sensations. Coming back to center, release the feet down or hug the knees in if you need to do that to release the lower back. So the image we're going to have for the next one is just like when you finish wiping down at the end of a meal and you've been doing the washing up or whatever, you wipe down the surfaces and then you squeeze the dishcloth, you twist it in opposite directions and it gets very, very compacted and all the excess water drops out. And it's kind of like we're trying to do that, trying to achieve the same feeling for the enteric nervous system that's being slightly wrung and squeezed, and and then release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. But each time we move into the twist, squeeze, inhale, release, exhale, squeeze. So working from the mat, start with the feet on the floor. You may, in 5 or 6 twists, want to bring the knees in over the chest for a stronger twist, but you don't need to do that. Use the long exhale to release into the twist. From the chair, we can exhale, inhale to center, and exhale. Inhale to center and exhale. If you like doing the twist where you go sideways and are able to grab the back of the chair, that little bit of additional twist, feel free to do that. Just take it easy with the leverage into the spine through the twist. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. We're thinking about experiencing a sense of warmth, heat, softness and strength, but most of all, a kind of freedom, a sense of things can move through the enteric system, that nothing is held there, nothing is stagnant or fixed. It's a slightly energetic, subtle concept, more than a physiological concept, but it works very well to release tension in this area, in our gut feelings. And then just finish this work on the enteric system by coming into a twist clockwise or round to the right, and just holding that twist, turning the shoulders as far as you can, or using the legs to turn the thoracic spine as far as you can, and then stretching the crown of the head and just finding that extra little bit of rotation in the opposite direction through the neck. Just taking 2 or 3 breaths here in this held twist. Inhale, feeling the length of the spine, particularly if you're working in gravity in the chair. Exhale, just softening and releasing a little deeper. It's that final dishcloth ring to get the last few drops out. And then inhale back to center and exhale, doing exactly the same on the other side. And then when you've done an roughly equal number of breaths on each side, coming back to center and then coming into the midline, folding over the thighs. If you're in a chair, hugging the knees into the chest. If you are on the mat. And then we just got one transitional pose to come up to standing, which is going to be the cat. So if you're in the chair, it's the cat version for the chair. Inhale and exhale. And if you're working from the mat, you're going to pad the knees, and you might be on the wrists, or you might be using a chair to take the weight off the shoulders. Inhaling and exhaling. Kind of just slipping back to somatic nervous system, noticing sensations again, really trying to feel an awareness of every single vertebra in the spine and feeling that all of them are participating in that small way to contribute to this whole spine movement that we find in the cat. And then you will either be coming up standing or staying in the chair. We're going to be using the back of the chair for support. So if you are able to stand and have the support of the chair or a wall, then please do that. We'll begin our standing work, which is actually just one sequence tonight. We'll begin that in the usual way, which is just to reconnect with the breath and find that freedom in the shoulders again. So combining that, initiating the outward turn through the shoulders, reaching the arms up, long exhale, and then beginning to lift the toes as we breathe in. And if you're standing, lifting the toes, exhale, lifting the heels, exhale, doing the same if you're working from the chair. Check in with where you are in terms of state of mind, sensations in the body, breath. And then at the end of the next one, just let the arms hang. So I'm going to demonstrate this sequence from standing. So I'm thinking a lot of people will be doing it from standing, and then I'll show you a seated version for those working from a seat. So we're going to start with the right leg forward and the left leg back. And I've got my feet a good hip width apart. We're going to be doing a forward bend over this right leg, but we'll be doing it towards the chair, so you're going to have the support of the chair there. So we'll bring the palms together, and if you like, you can either just watch this sequence, or you can practice along if that's an easier way for you to learn. So breathing in, opening the chest, really standing nice and tall, and then breathing out, just softening this knee as we come over. I'm going to take hold of the chair, long exhale, bow forward, and actually draw this leading leg back towards straight, or just as much as you can to feel the stretch up through the whole of the back of the leading leg. Breathing in, going to let this knee bend and come all the way up. And then I'm going to exhale and reach for the back of the chair and come into a little bit of a neutral dog. And then I'm going to breathe in, take the right leg back, and breathe out, take the leg down, bend the knees, sweep the arms up, and exhale back to the starting position. Take the other leg forward, inhale, exhale, soften the left leg, hands to the chair, forward fold, coming into the stretch. Inhale, coming up, exhale, reach for the chair, downward dog. Slightly narrow the feet, inhale, swing the left leg back, exhale, leg down, bend the knees, inhale, reach up, exhale. It doesn't matter if you get any of these movements wrong. I just want to kind of give you 4 or 5 movements and then create a flow with the idea that the mind will become absorbed in that flow. So I'm going to invite you to do 2 or 3 more rounds. Just do as much as feels right for you. And I'm going to do the next 2 rounds, but I might be doing it slower than you want to do it or quicker. So just make it work for you and don't worry about whether it's exactly right. That's not important. Breathing in. Go wrong, it really doesn't matter, like I did then. It's almost a good sign. It's kind of, you get so absorbed in the flow that your body just takes you into the next position, even if it's slightly out of sequence. So just go with it, stay with the breath, continue. Take your time, complete the round that you're on, finishing with the left leg forward side. And when you get to the end of that last one, just take a moment to either stand in mountain pose, feet maybe a little wider than hip width, eyes closed, or a soft gaze forward and down. And I'm just going to finish our last pose before the restorative inversion is going to be just a little balance. So as simple as just bending the right knee, resting on the toes. Maybe you'll need a chair or a wall or not. And if you're feeling a little more confident about the balance, breathing in, raising the leg, exhale, and breathing in and exhale. And again, there's doing this movement, and there's the ballet choreographer version where there's grace and movement. Grace and movement, there is placement. And just the energy you need to do the practice and no more. And just finishing next time you raise the left leg. And then if you're working in a chair, just bring another chair in, take the legs up onto it. If you're working on the mat, supporting the head with the blanket, the pelvis with a yoga block, resting the lower legs on the seat of the chair. And allowing yourself to move into this winding down phase, this phase of integration. And integration is a really good way to think about how the somatic work, what we're feeling in our body, how we focus the mind, the autonomic work where through our practice and our breathing we're having this beneficial effect on the autonomic nervous system, bringing about the relaxation response, on the way in which the enteric nervous system is benefited. And these nervous systems are integrating with all the other body systems, the endocrine glands, so the kind of soup that is running around your body, not just the blood, but all the hormones, the chemical messengers, is all moving in a positive direction. Fewer inflammation markers, fewer stress hormones, more positive chemical messengers, more pleasurable hormones like dopamine, things like that. I'm just going to spend another breath or two in the supported inversion. Then you're going to move into your preferred position for relaxation. If you've got your feet up in the chair, just stay there. You need to be safe in the chair. So if you don't have sides on your chair, you think you might nod off, try to come down to the floor, or treat the relaxation more as a concentration exercise. And if you're lying on the mat, legs can be straight, knees can be bent, you can lie on your side, anywhere comfortable. I'm going to do a very simple relaxation tonight. We're going to take a few moments to really notice the comfort of the body and do everything that we need to do to enhance that comfort. An extra cushion, a blanket, a pair of socks. Don't be cold, don't be uncomfortable, be at ease. And at any time, know that you can just make an adjustment, shift position. But when you find that sweet spot, also have the discipline to just allow yourself to settle and sink and draw yourself into the stillness of this moment. And in that stillness, notice every sensation in your body. We're very still, so there's little sensory stimulation, which means we can really feel that the background noise has been turned down and we can focus on the points of contact to the chair, to the mat, to the floor, to the earth. We can feel the touch of the clothes on our skin. We're aware of the hands, the feet, the arms, the legs, the hips, the abdomen, the torso, the neck, the face. We hold the whole of our body in our sphere of awareness. And we encircle that awareness with the soft breath. Allowing the breath to become more subtle and soft and light, but still deep down to the abdomen and deeply nourishing to all parts of the nervous system. And then bring your focus especially to the abdomen and allow your abdomen to be as soft as possible. Gently moving out or swelling slightly as you breathe in. Softly sinking back and in as you exhale. This area of the abdomen, the area that the breathing diaphragm is moving in and out of, is just manifesting this quality of softness and ease. Of space, of energy moving, of energy and emotions becoming unstuck. And if you'd like to, just place the palms softly on the abdomen, just adding in that sense of touch, feeling the softness and movement of your own abdomen as your light, low, subtle breath flows in and out of the body. This is a place of safety for us, for our body, our breath, our emotions. And we hold ourselves safe in this space. Allow your breath to deepen now and bring movement back into the body. Wriggle the toes and fingers and stretch your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. If you've been lying with your legs straight on the mat, bend the knees, roll onto your side. Take a breath or two there and then come back up to sitting, either in the chair or on the mat. And if you can, keep the eyes closed or downcast just for a moment or two longer. If you're feeling a little bit sleepy, just deepen the breath slightly and have a final check-in with exactly how you're feeling right now. And then when you're ready, blinking, open the eyes. Thanks very much for joining me again.